Thanks everyone for joining. We're going to get started in just a second. We got people rolling in and um, you know excited about this webinar. So we got great content today, and happy April Fools, everyone. And that's no joke. We'll get started in just a minute, everyone. We got folks rolling in. So thanks everyone. Happy April Fools Day. Welcome everyone. We'll get started in just a second. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll get started in about 1 minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. Happy April Fool's Day. Thank you, everyone, for joining the CQD Ideation webinars, Reimagining Customer Service with Agentic AI and Intelligent Agents. We got a lot to cover today and some amazing speakers that are going to talk about some of the latest industry trends and what we're seeing in customer service as it collates to Agentic AI and agents. So real quick, big shout out to Alpina for joining us today. She's the brains behind the Microsoft Customer Service Contact Center. Always innovating, always out there disrupting, and always a pleasure to have you on these calls. So thank you so much for the support, and excited to have you on the webinar. And we also have John Rastia, who's our CTO, EVP of Strategy, and helps us think through go-to-market motions, innovation focuses, and strategies. And my name's Greg Moser, President of CompuSoft Digital. Before we get started, real quick, I wanted to make everyone aware that we are having a virtual Power Platform and Copilot Studio event. I do welcome everyone to sign up and participate. It's going to be a 2-day event. We do have a hands-on lab, so we're actually going to build Copilot agents leveraging Copilot Studios. We're also going to build some applications around Power Apps as well for day 2. This is a virtual session, so feel free to register. You can go onto my LinkedIn, or you can go on to the CompuSoft Digital website. And before we jump in, I do highly recommend that you reach out to the team. Go ahead and connect with us on LinkedIn. Alpina has quite a bit of innovation that she drives, so I do highly recommend that you do connect with her. Now, real quick about your host, CompuSoft Digital. We've been in business for about 25 years, have over 500 innovators globally, focus on various industries and horizontal workloads. And then we like to drive balance to our customers, the PPT, PPA model, people, process, technology. Who's going to use it both internally and externally, and how do we make them empowered, more efficient? From a process perspective, how do we drive down OpEx and increase revenue uplift? And then technology, how do we get the Microsoft ecosystem to support the people in the process? And that drives balance. So as we continue in this webinar, just keep that in mind, for your AI and customer service initiatives. We also, from a CompuSoft perspective, we focus on all the latest and greatest, AI, Copilot, autonomous agents, Foundry, those types of things. Business apps, customer service, contact center being one of the main areas that we focus on, in addition to CRM, ERP, Power Platform, Copilot. And then, as we've stated in various sessions, it's all about the data. So Fabric, Databricks, Purview, and those types of things. So we help companies digitally transform. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the webinar. Today we're going to talk about the Microsoft Shift, high performance agents to empower your service experience. Alpina is going to go through what Microsoft's doing from a roadmap and innovation perspective, best practices. She has the opportunity to meet with, many customers globally and bring that industry acumen into the conversation today. So really excited. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a deep dive on the contact center customer service agents. We're going to talk about the intent agent, the knowledge agent, the case agent, and the quality evaluation agent. We're actually going to see those in real time. And then at the end, we're going to have some time opened for a fireside chat where we kind of talk about, what we're seeing in the industry, and then other aspects and best practices and things of that nature. There is a Q&A button, and you can also put questions in the chat. We'll try to respond to as many of those as we can. If we can't get through all of them, then we will respond, to the group in a follow-up based upon the questions. So feel free to put your questions in either the Q&A bucket, or you can just put it in the chat bucket as well. Now, before we start, we kind of talked about bridging the islands of data last time. When it comes to agentic AI, there's a lot of pressures and uncertainty and, confusion in the marketplace. And especially in customer service, this has been the innovation center where AI started, right? It has a start and an end, so it allows you to effectively manage, to those models and outcomes and things of that nature. But one of the things and pressures that we have from a customer service contact center perspective is, on average, an agent has 6 to 8 applications that they have to integrate with. 3 to 5 apps is a high performing company. Switching just load time can take 10 seconds to 3 minutes, and all that is impacting, the customer experience, right? CSAT, NPS scores, and things like that. And then you compound it with industry turnover. I mean, on average, low turnover is 30 to 45%. You have high stress industries like retail, professional services that could have 50 to 70, and then best in class is 15 to 25%. On average, it's 12 to 18 months before an agent's fully effective and efficient, and that training cost is around 30K. So really, what we call this is a bowl of spaghetti at the end of the day. We have multiple channels that we have to deal with, and if you're a large organization, like many of you on the call today, you could have siloed telephony, AD environments, security, governance, etc. You have many different processes, and those can stay within your group or not. One thing we know in customer service, everything branches, right? Nothing is linear. So you have to manage that from that standpoint. And then multiple business units, and then the one-off processes. And it is our job as customer service and contact leaders to bridge those islands of data so that we can get to the data hierarchies to really leverage agentic AI, Copilot, and other types of services as well. So before we turn over to Panya, we're going to do a quick survey. So Sahil's going to put that survey up. And then, the question is, what are the biggest obstacles that you are seeing around deploying agentic AI in your business? Is it organizational consensus on what AI is and how to deploy? A lot of confusion in the marketplace today. Are you running into blockers around legal, compliance, and governance? Not pulling those teams in early, you're going to get blocked, right? So something we see a lot of times. Lack of a defined use case. All starts with a use case to drive business, value. And IT and business need to come together to really kind of, focus on those outcomes and things of that nature, or lack of data hierarchies, associations, and roll-ups. I mean, is data preventing you from moving forward? So if everybody wants to just go ahead and submit their results, we'll see how the polls work. And it looks like, again, organizational consensus on what AI is there. data is now catching up. And then lack of defined use cases, interesting, 47%. Those are interesting numbers from that standpoint. So there are some workshops that you can do to really kind of drive that. But we are seeing organizational alignment consensus, lack of defined use cases, and lack of data hierarchies as the main drivers. So good stuff. And if you haven't gotten into the legal and compliance areas, bring them in early because that will catch you at the end. Now, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Panya, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Greg. Super excited to be part of this webinar today. I see a great number of audience on this call, so thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. In this segment, we are going to talk about how Microsoft is innovating the contact center space in the AI era. And let's start with one of the biggest headwinds that organizations are facing today, which is customer expectations are up because ChatGPT, all the AI new models that are coming our way, they are commoditized. There are 800 million weekly active users who are going to ChatGPT, and any kind of AI that you are providing is getting directly compared against that. Secondly, the service reps who are taking care of your end customers, they continue to burn out. There's a high attrition rate. And now more than ever, service leaders, despite years of digital transformation, they don't have the visibility that they need. Not just that, as AI is evolving very, very, very rapidly, leaders are feeling lost because they don't know where to start. And as the poll suggested, identifying use cases difficult, and driving AI value, showcasing that value is more difficult as well. And why is that? Because the tech stack that is there in the contact center ecosystem today, or that is powering the customer engagements today, isn't built for today's pressure. There are a huge number of apps, tools that are there in your contact center ecosystems today. Some driving engagement channels, chat, voice, SMS, some driving your human agent experience, some having your customer 360-degree information at one place. So essentially, what that ends up leading to is inconsistent end customer experience. Employee productivity is lost because they are swivel chairing across 17 different applications. Supervisors are lost because insights are spread across 15 different applications, and every function, be it self-service, assisted service, field operations, supervisor management, every function is struggling with complexity, with duplication, and with lag time because these systems don't talk to each other. Not just that, the entire ecosystem around us is evolving very rapidly, where things are transitioning from platforms to people. The models are shifting fast. AI is changing how CX gets done. And now more than ever, the stacks from CCaaS to UCaaS to CRM to your agent desktops, everything is towards consolidation. And not just that, with AI, most of the CXOs today that I speak with, they expect the capacity, the efficiency, and the productivity to go up despite the headcounts that are not going up. Those are the trends that we are seeing in the market today. And as I mentioned, AI is evolving very rapidly. Few years ago, we were talking about conversational AI, wherein your conversational chatbots, IVRs moved from DTMF touch tone to natural language understanding, natural language reasoning. So that's where the conversation AI era came in. From conversation AI, the era evolved into generative AI. That's where creation of content, the ease of creation of content came in. And very rapidly, we evolved from generative AI to agentic AI. And one of the most common places that I'm hearing where AI can drive tremendous value is customer engagement, and more than anything, the customer service and support functions. That's where majority of the CXOs are expecting AI to drive value in terms of outcomes that businesses care for. So in the poll, there was like roughly 47% rank that was given to you guys don't know where to start AI transformation journey with. These are some of the signals that we are hearing at Microsoft based on our customer engagements. Start with this customer support and service use cases because that's where AI can drive a lot of value faster, easy to identify use cases in a very Lego block fashion. And that's exactly what Microsoft is doing. We are transforming customer engagement with agentic-driven approach, wherein the entire platform is purpose-built for the next generation of workforce, wherein your AI agents, co-pilots, and humans can work together very seamlessly. Context is shared with each of them, where they're working in harmony, complementing each other's tasks that they need to perform. And when it comes to the end-to-end customer journey, starting from channels, so we are infusing AI in those channels. As I mentioned, we are heavily focused on self-service to ensure that we can take the drudgery out of your human hands and route those scenarios to your self-service conversation leg, be it on chat or be it on voice. And this is where AI is evolving very rapidly with the 3 generations of AI that I just spoke about. And there are 2 key jobs when it comes to self-service that you all can think about. As much as possible, do self-service containment, meaning if there are scenarios in your ecosystem, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Order status, case status, ticket status, enrollment status, anything related to the status of the things that you manage is a very common use case. Like 70% of our customer use cases that start their AI journey with is around how can I automate the status questions from my end customers through self-service, right? Anything that is predictable, that is very deterministic, any kind of FAQ docs that you have published on your website, all those things are very low-hanging fruits that you can absolutely drive higher containment rates on with self-service. So that is segment 1 under self-service. The second segment of use cases under self-service is where you want to collect context and have your self-service ask most common questions that your human agents ask today. Like, for example, if it is lead generation or if it is opportunity generation, like things like, hey, what is your name? Can we do 2-factor authentication? What is your date of birth? SSN, like all that context collection can be taken away from the human drudgery and routed to self-service segment wherein a conversational IVR or a chatbot can ask those questions, saving a ton of time from your human agents. And all that context is then used in unified intelligent routing to find the best queue and the best agent to serve your customer. Imagine a case wherein you're dealing with a very high ticket customer. You don't want to route them to a tier 1 agent. You may want them to be routed to their relationship managers. And that's where context helps in routing. Similar to that, AI-based sentiment can play a very, very important role in routing. For example, if the conversation between a customer and a conversational IVR is trending super negative, then you may want to decide that such conversations are routed to tier 3 agents, not your tier 1 agents, right? So AI plays a very, very important role in routing as well. The next leg of the journey is, let's say routing did its job, it found the right queue and the right human agent. And when it comes to assisted service, when your human agents are talking to customers, we have improved the human agent productivity across multiple customers, and there are public case studies available on our website. Double-digit improvements with the help of things like sentiment, transcription, translation, next best answers, next best actions. Not just that, Copilot readily available to do a Q&A to help your human agents. And now with Agentic AI, your human agents can delegate tasks to AI agents to perform those tasks. And we will see it shortly in the demos that John has lined up for us across these 4 key agents that are first party agents available out of the box in our product today: customer intent agent, knowledge management agent, case agent, and quality evaluation agent. All these agents work together, create a learning loop, thereby giving you an opportunity to drive towards autonomous contact center, driving your customer engagements. Now, many of you have given us this feedback that, hey, we already have so many tools and apps in our ecosystem, and it is very difficult for us to, rip and replace the entire contact center in one shot. That's where the Microsoft ecosystem comes into play, wherein we have a plethora of apps, tools, and you can start the journey wherever you like to give you the options of doing that on-ramp in a phased, staggered way. For example, if you want to start with conversational chatbots, IVRs, you can start with that. Or if you want to start with, let's say, only digital channels, you can start with that. If you want to start with voice channel, you can start with that. Or if you want to do a full transformation, you can go all in and do that full transformation iteratively as well. That's where the power of scalable Microsoft ecosystem comes into play. Not just that, it leverages your existing investments in Microsoft Stack. So it is built on top of Azure. If you already have Teams phone system, you can leverage Teams phone system both for first party calling as well as with direct routing. You can plug in your call providers. So we provide a complete and composable stack that works with your existing apps and tools and provides you multiple different on-ramp options to begin your contact center journey. On that note, one key thing all this helps you drive is smarter service with AI agents. Now you can focus on providing a very unified customer experience so that your systems are not, your data, your system is not siloed across multiple places. And with time sensitive knowledge updates, wherein our knowledge management agent can listen to the entire conversation, and based on how your superstar agents are driving higher CSATs, automatically author knowledge articles. Those knowledge articles can be leveraged for your other human agents, and not just that, with your self-service colleague as well. So they enable creation of an automatic learning loop, thereby saving a lot of time when it comes to average handling time, improving your CSAT rates, improving the compliance with the help of quality audit agents, and enabling you to literally focus on what matters the most, which is your business outcomes. On that note, many of our customers are telling us that Microsoft is one of the key innovators when it comes to customer engagement, AI-led transformation. And the reasons why our customers are picking Microsoft as a platform is first and foremost is we are a cloud vendor. We provide end-to-end platform wherein you drastically optimize your TCO, total cost of operations. You don't have to deal with multiple different vendors. We provide you CRM, we provide you contact center, we provide you ticket management, knowledge base, workforce management. We provide you end-to-end stack. Not just that, we are a very open and flexible platform. So if you wish to start your journey with a simple use case, you can choose the Lego block that fits your need, start your journey with that, and continue to add Lego blocks one after the other and work towards maximum digital transformation. And most importantly, we are the AI leader when it comes to customer engagements and service journeys. These are the top 3 reasons why customers are choosing us. And more importantly, not just our own customers, our analysts have also placed Microsoft in the top leader quadrant for Customer Engagement Center, be it Gartner or be it Forrester. All these reports are available publicly. Please leverage them. I hope Greg will share after this webinar is done these assets as well. If you have any questions, I'm available on the chat after this segment as well, while I hand over now the control to John to show you some of these agents in action. Thank you, Greg. Back to you, John.
Great. Thank you. Upon you. Let's go ahead and
we're
switch
going to do a quick poll real quick. So Sahil, if you want to put that up, and just as a reminder, we will be sharing the content after this webinar. We'll send out the recording of the webinar. We'll also put the 2 analyst reports that Apanya recommended and things along those lines as well. So are you deploying agents internally? Yes, agents are deployed. I mean, we have customers that have backlog that have deployed these and realizing real-time value. Are you starting to roll those out? Are you in the 0 to 3 months, 3 to 9 months, 9 to 12 months, or are agents just a trend? Is this going to pass, from your point of view? So if everyone wouldn't mind, we'll see what the results look like and get that started. So yeah, 33% of folks are using agents today. 18%, agents are the latest shiny object. 15, 0 to 3, 15, 3 to 9, and 15, 9 to 12. That makes the math real easy from that standpoint. So a lot of folks, almost 40% have agents deployed today, which is great. So we're going to go ahead and resume the presentation. So let me just forward it on to John's section. And John, over to you.
Right,
Wrong section. Hold on.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks, everybody, for carving out some time today. And let's go ahead and dive right into this right here. I mean, there's been a lot of changes, to a lot of the AI in the past 6 to 9 months, I would say, just in general. But where I'd like to kind of start right now is, all the AI agents in Dynamics, and that's a big piece of this, what's going to be available there right now that we can start to leverage. And that's what's going to be today's discussion on. These purpose-built agents can work independently or together to move every interaction from intent to resolution. Each agent is designed around a clear job to be done, detecting intent, surfacing and creating knowledge, managing those cases, and continuously evaluating its quality. The goal is simple: increase self-service success, accelerate time to close, and improve service quality at scale. Across the organization, roles like contact center administrators, service representatives, knowledge managers, quality supervisors guide and optimize these agents, ensuring the right balance of autonomy, governance, and human oversight across the entire service life cycles are met. A smooth transition to AI agents comes down to initial rollout and trust by design. Start by clearly defining ownership, one job to be done per agent, and begin with agent assist or limited non-production scenarios before moving on to that. I'm going to get into some best practices a little bit later here. But with generative AI, these agents can improve customer intent, discovery, and in real-time knowledge management. They're supporting both your service and assisted scenarios. Now, let me go ahead and show you all 4 of these in action through the following demos. Okay, the first one we really want to kind of start talking about right here is really going to be the case management agent. It helps automate case handling, saving time service. Representatives spend manually filling in all these case details. Those administrators can customize the agent's behavior by configuring rules per the organization's requirements. And a lot of those capabilities include creating and updating the cases from live chats or from voice conversations or other channels, and update the cases from emails as well automatically. the agent uses AI to predict and populate all the relevant fields on that case as those conversations, continue to progress, that you'll see later. It also drafts and sends emails based on determined intent from customer inquiries, leveraging knowledge and custom workflows. It also sends follow-up, emails and resolves cases based on predefined rules, streamlining the case and closure process. Along with that, case management is also the customer intent agent, which uses generative AI to automatically discover customer intents by analyzing past interactions, and it builds that intent library to improve dynamic conversations. So self-service representatives or service representatives can quickly understand what the customer is looking for, guide them in their interactions with relevant, follow-up questions, and offer real-time tailored solutions. Let me tell you what, in one of my presentations recently, we actually, were troubleshooting a nuclear fission reactor in this, and the intent built all of those questions. It creates those lists of questions and suggested solutions, enhancing efficiency and most definitely reducing all your typing effort or any kind of questions you need to come up with. So you get up to speed very quickly. And that agent generates follow-up questions based upon the collected information, resulting in higher deflection rates. So beyond intent discovery, the intent agent can autonomously lead conversations using business instructions, enterprise functions, or other knowledge articles linked to each intent. So let's go ahead and see, let's see one of these in action. So very quickly here, this is a scenario where someone is on our website. They're going to engage our servant agent, chatting some questions about their service laptop that is freezing up, and the agent quickly comes back with some basic information. But they've tried that, and they want to actually be transferred to a human. So automatically it does that. It routes it to the right person, as you can see here. So very quickly, the agent can see the entire conversation on the left-hand side there, and very quickly reach back out to them by just using some very quick responses. In this case, I'm just going to use one that's automatically introduces myself and asks them for more information, what's going on. They're going to come back and tell them, yep, I'm having some issues with my laptop. But you can see on the right-hand side, the intent agent is going to pick this up. It's on support. It's looking for service laptop issues. So you can see on the left-hand side there very quickly, it's building all the necessary questions that it needs to ask these customers. And all they have to do is simply click on that question, and it adds it to the chat. You can see here, there's not a lot of keys on keyboard here. It asks all the information all the way down to their serial number, and based upon that serial number and their lines of question, it automatically can detect what is the best resolution, put that in the chat, and you can kind of see it here, automatically next best actions and steps based upon information that they've supplied. Automatically, it can fill up the information using follow-up questions or anything else that they want to do here. And in this case, they're all set and they're all done. So you can quickly see, anybody that has ever troubleshoot, Surface, laptop freezing up, that intent will do it. It'll automatically do a conversation summary, but here automatically created a case for us just by using chat, and that intent capability automatically has helped that agent put them in control and help them with lines of questioning very specific to that. And that's all based upon the chat or conversation that's coming into the system. Got it. Next one here that we're going to take a look at is the customer knowledge management agent. It helps create and manage those customer knowledge base articles in real time after the case is closed. The knowledge management agent will analyze case details and related information, including notes, conversations, emails, and draft a knowledge base article based upon that. It identifies whether the new article is necessary by comparing the case against existing Dynamics 365 knowledge base, avoiding any duplicates. It ensures compliance with sensitive data by scrubbing automatically data that's off there, any kind of PII information, it takes that off of there. And organizations can extend compliance checks using custom automation. So let's take a look at how this can really help out. In this case, I'm just going to use the same case that we just did here. They're going to go ahead and resolve the case. I'm going to put in what was my resolution, and you'll notice the bottom. they actually want to propose a new knowledge base article based upon this particular case. That's all they have to do. Once they click on resolve, that agent will take that and automatically take all the information, as I just mentioned, put it into a knowledge base article based upon this, and then they can still configure it. They can make changes, but I'm going to go ahead and proceed with that. Once it's in there, my knowledge base, manager can go in there and I can see every drafted knowledge base article that's coming from these agents. So here we see it down in the bottom. It's going to review all my article content. What are the steps? What are the issue causes? Anything that we want to relate back into this. Once I review everything in this draft status, all I need to do there is publish that article. And I can tell you a lot that I've heard this, over the many, many years of doing customer service contact center, that people say, hey, we don't have a lot of good knowledge base, articles, people just, it's hard to create them. So again, that agent, as you just saw, automatically creates articles based upon that case information and really kind of helps out a lot very, very quickly. Let's go into the final one here. And this is I really like this one. This is one of the latest ones, but it's the quality evaluation agent, and it helps your organizations make sure that every customer engagement with support, whether it's handled by service representatives or the AI agents, is compliant, ethical, and aligned with all your brand values. Supervisors set up evaluation criteria, their questionnaires, your scoring logic, and instructions to define, what is the quality. The AI agent uses that criteria to assess customer engagements across all the channels and generate those scores. Those supervisors can then, conduct quality evaluations in two modes. Where the AI agent completes all the evaluations without manual intervention, and then the AI assisted mode, where the AI agent performs all evaluations and the supervisor reviews the results to check for accuracy and compliance. This flexibility lets supervisors choose complete automation for efficiency, for a more controlled approach for oversight and quality assurance. The AI agent really does provide evaluation summaries, quality scores, coaching recommendations to help supervisors find those gaps, guide their representatives' development, and improve service standards. So let's take a look how this one's done. The first one we're going to do is look at reports of all my AI agents. Okay, these are all the AI agents that we just described before. We have complete capabilities to take a look at all their performance. We can break that out and give them quality scores, but you can see in that conversation funnel very quickly, I can see where they are in each individual stage at the virtual agent level. Now, I'm just going to pick up the conversation that we just had before in the case with the Surface laptop, and right away I can pull up the full conversation. I can look at the transcript. It provides me a summary of everything that was being done right there. What conversations, if there's multiple conversations that are being had inside there. And then very quickly, what I can do now on the right-hand side is my evaluation. And that's my evaluation summary that really the AI agent is going to fully give, full scoring on. So it starts off with the evaluation summary, and I'm just going to kind of scroll down here a little bit, giving more information on how they started, how did they use our branding? What did I provide, clear next steps on? But more importantly, what are my suggested actions, right? Improve on some different things, or how I closed, the conversation. As I scroll down, this is all configurable, but all these areas are now looking at listening skills, any other criteria that you want me to put inside there. This can be built out and scored. You can kind of see here the close of the interaction. I quickly closed it and closed out the ticket. So it's going to put a lower score on there, of course. But all this information is now available, to those, quality supervisors to provide really good feedback, for all of our representatives. Okay. And those are the four agents that we kind of talked about here. What I really like to, kind of hone everybody in on is everybody's kind of looking at that and saying, okay, where do I start? Where do we take a look at, right? So let's just use some of our best practices that we've learned over the many years deploying this to many different, industries and organizations. And really it kind of starts off with establishing clear ownership and routing boundaries across AI and human agents to ensure efficient, non-overlapping customer experiences. Each agent should be designed around a single primary outcome, its intent, detection and routing, case management, knowledge lifecycle management, or human agent assistance to reduce any ambiguity and improve accountability. Routing and queue configuration should prioritize AI agents with higher capacity, so eligible interactions are handled automatically first, reserving human agents for higher value or escalated scenarios. And finally, that escalation and handoff logic must preserve and update context variables accurately to prevent any routing loops and ensure seamless progression across each one of your agents and across maybe multiple departments. Okay. This approach delivers scalable, automation, faster resolution, and a clear operating model across the full customer journey. I also really kind of take a look at, you're looking at adopting a staged rollout approach for AI agents. With telemetry enabled that I kind of showed it in that first demo, we can see all of our agents' feedback as well. That's enabled day one to ensure predictable, explainable, and measurable outcomes that we can clearly see. Agents should first be deployed in non-production environments using real but intentionally limited data to observe true behavioral patterns without any business risk. Operational telemetry must be captured continuously using platform native tools. Like I think there's 3 reports, just as the one I just showed you quickly in that demo, to give you application insight, Dataverse transcripts, analytical dashboards to monitor adoption and effectiveness. But those key performance indicators include suggestive acceptance rates, escalation frequency, again, looking at average handle time, first contact resolution, providing early visibility into agent value and failure modes. So we can make those changes and clearly see where we're, gaining insight into that. Validation should be driven by real customer transcripts rather than scripted test cases to ensure your agents, can perform reliable under real world, variabilities. Promotion through an ALM, pipelines should occur only after the agent's behavior is consistent, explainable, and aligned with intended outcomes. And that's going to create your confidence and accountability and really allow you to scale all these into a production ready agents, as we just showed there before. Those are just some of the best practices that we've seen.
Yeah, thanks for that, John. Just a lot to kind of think about as we just stay on this slide for just a second. I think case in point, use cases help drive the organizational alignment and consensus. So always kind of think about that. And then we will also have this, event recorded. We'll send it out. We'll have the PDF of the recording, of the presentation deck, and then the analyst forms that we mentioned earlier as well. So we're going to move into the Ask the Experts, to where we're going to have a round robin Q&A, talk about some interesting topics. And as a reminder, don't forget to put your questions in the Q&A box or in the chat window. We'll try to get through as many of those as we can. Nicholas did have a question around Microsoft Dynamics. Is it a CRM? Yes, it is. Competitor Salesforce. And if anyone would like to do a deep dive on Microsoft Dynamics, Copilot, and the Power Platform agents, we'll be more than happy to circle back with the team. So let's get into the fireside chat. Looking forward to what the experts have to say. So this is one that comes up all the time, right? I mean, this is one of the top of mind questions that we see. And the question is, how do we define the role of AI agents versus human agents in our service model? Apanya, I'm going to turn over to you. Would love to hear your kind of thoughts on this particular question.
Yep, as you rightly said, this comes up very often, but I always end up challenging this question. And here is why. It is not AI agents versus human agents. It is how AI agents and human agents can work together seamlessly in this new era that we call it as AI era. And on your right-hand side, you have this beautiful phases and patterns across multiple different customer engagements that I've had. I've seen customers adopting each of these patterns as well. Patterns where human agents are leveraging AI capabilities as assisted capabilities, truly acting like a co-pilot, right? And then there are patterns where human agents are delegating their tasks to AI agents. So when it comes to how do we define the role, I would say go back to the fundamental ways of working and first principles. What are the personas in the ecosystem and what are the jobs to be done? And when you take a look at the jobs to be done and you're trying to identify use cases from that jobs to be done framework, identify those use cases that have a little bit more predictable steps, workflows that needs to be done.
Mhm.
Those are the first batch of candidate use cases, which you can completely automate with the help of AI, automation workflows, so on and so forth. That is the easiest ones to take care of. Once you have taken care of that, then comes where you already have assets built in, because remember, AI is as good as the data that it is getting trained on. So wherever you have data sanity, ready data, clean data, identify those use cases and start leveraging AI around those use cases. Places where humans are still very relevant and very important are the ones that need more empathy, more judgment of what the context is, what the situation is, how can I take care of this customer, and very importantly, anything that is like very high ticket item, high risk item, have humans in the loop for sure
Mhm.
until your AI is able to gain your confidence and trust, right? Because
Mhm.
AI transformation is a journey. It is not like you will turn on one
Mhm.
thing and you'll start seeing the results in the next 24 hours. You got to fine tune it, you got to train it, you got to customize it. So it's AI transformation is a journey until you see satisfactory results in your AI transformation use cases. Please continue to have humans in the loop as your supervisors who are monitoring the performance of AI. So that becomes a very critical role as AI evolves.
Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah.
I totally agree, upon you. I mean, I love bringing in, real life use cases, and we saw that in our poll before. I mean, people really need to look at, how, what are the use cases they're trying to solve and bring into this. We define the split by, pretty much, the outcome of ownership and risk. I see it as our AI agents should own the repeatable, high volume work, intent detection, self-service deflection, knowledge retrieval, creation and case updates, enrichment, and routine updates. Leave that up to the autonomous, agents. I see those as really low risks, and we've seen that across so many different industries where we can take, an incoming, call, through insurance and do onboarding, and it's just going to walk you through every single step. And if there's any document processing that needs to be done there, we can check that document to kind of make sure everything's in order before we move to the next steps. So those are some of routine, automated tasks that I'm talking about that you can really use those use cases to bring them in. The human agent, own the moments that require empathy, judgment, negotiation, exception handling, plus any complex regulated, charged escalations. The key is, to clear out the boundaries. I've seen this now, really kind of evolve quite a bit. And my advice here is to use one primary outcome per agent. Now, like we showed here, we had an intent agent that only looked at, letting you know what are the stages, steps, and questions I need to ask. Then we've got a separate agent that 100% looks at knowledge base articles. Then we have a separate agent that was just doing QA to make sure that those outcomes are per, AI agents. Really allows for a higher, AI capacity for eligible work. And it's a clean handoff that carries off contextual so humans can resolve, a lot of things fast without a lot of rework.
Yeah, no, great points. And not a lot to add, but definitely want to highlight a couple things. AI versus human. It's not one against the other, right? It's named Copilot for a reason. These are symbiotic. These are sitting next to you, right? Working side by side. I can't tell you just the value that I've seen putting presentations together, aggregating content, research, analysis, and having my co-pilot sit next to me has made me faster, stronger, more efficient from that standpoint. The other one is, we're at the low risk standpoint, right? Commodity tasks moving into value add tasks and things along those lines. Start small. I mean, that's one of the beauties about Microsoft is a protected data set. It mitigates your risk from having, the wrong answer, right? There's nothing worse. I mean, Copilot, it tries to please me every time I, ask it a question, right? That's its job. But you want the data sets to be protected. And we've seen other AI solutions, have code getting released and other pertinent data. And I think when you're looking at it from a safety and governance perspective, Microsoft is the place to start. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, we talked about the emotional intelligence, right? The empathy aspects. I mean, again, bridging that along with machine, provides that co-pilot outcome that you're looking for. So great feedback from that standpoint. So moving into the next one, John, we're going to start with you. Where can agentic AI fully automate versus assist today? What are you seeing from a use case perspective, et cetera?
Yeah, Greg, where I've seen this really be very, very, very successful is where we can fully automate, where the work is repeatable, it's rules driven and low risk. Today, that includes, like, again, the intent detection and routing, self-service resolution. We also see a lot of agents handling end-to-end resolutions for well-defined scenarios, like, again, password resets, order status, simple billing questions, and where it's a lot more like FAQ driven, support. We can assist, when judgment, empathy, like you just kind of said, or exception handling is required. In those cases, Agentic AI, more works as a co-pilot, as you just kind of said, summarizing the conversation, suggesting next best action, surfacing knowledge, drafting responses, and automating after call work. While the humans, absolutely, like you said, stay in control. They're just kind of sitting over there. They are my team member, right? They are my assistant, and just kind of like doing things where it can't interject things at all times. It's doing other things. Again, like that summarization of conversations is really a game changer, because at the end of the conversation, instead of me having to do notes, how much does that really save time when we actually summarize that entire conversation and puts that right into the case where that agent can simply close it down, resolve it, and move on to the next one. I mean, while humans stay in control, most of those organizations operate, both modes at once. So again, by journey, channel, and risk level, we can, kind of scale that down. But again, looking where things are automated, repeatable, rules driven, and low risk, those use cases have been very, very, high success.
John pretty much covered everything very well. So thank you so much, John. I believe that kind of sums it up. Like AI, fully agentic automation is for the places where things are well defined. And I'll come back to data because data is super important. AI is as good as the data that you have. So I'll say two parts. Well-defined, predictable aspects that John mentioned. I'll echo that. Super important. The second thing that I would love to add is the data part. Wherever you have full confidence on your data, that your data is clean, data is correct, data is coherent, and guardrailed. Because you don't want to accidentally end up sharing the data that you don't want to share, right? So that is super important. So wherever that aspect of data you have full confidence and trust in on, those are the places where agentic AI fully can automate those scenarios. Right? Now, assist, just building on top of what John mentioned, when you're talking about complex journeys, one of the key things that matters the most in the contact center and customer engagement aspect is your human agent efficiency. Yep. So anything that can help you drive your human agent efficiency, in turn accruing towards better CSAT. Those are the places where you need to think about AI assisting. And what are the examples of those places? Knowledge retrieval. When, as a human agent, I'm talking to a frustrated customer, I want to focus on that customer. I want to focus on what he or she is talking to me about, as opposed to getting distracted with typing in for searching a knowledge article. That's where AI will come in and it'll help you with knowledge retrieval based on how the conversation is going. Response addition. Attrition is one of the biggest problems today in contact center. We still see huge number of attritions every month in contact center, and with new workforce coming in every month, every week, every day, that's where your AI can assist to train your new workforce. And when your new workforce is actually taking those calls, if they don't know your organization's process, AI can tell them what is the next best script to follow, what is the next best response to follow. All those things matter the most, right? So that's how I would classify it as. So put it simple, fully automate is where you have predictable, deterministic, where data is clean. Assisted is where you're focusing on human efficiency, CSAT aspects. That's where assisted AI will tremendously help.
Great, good point.
That mute button. I'll add one use case. I mean, we see like email intake is, something that can be fully automated. Email is a black hole. When that email comes in, it branches, right? And nothing is linear in customer service. Someone calls in, they need a password reset. I need to add a new member, change of address, sales order. Agentic AI can sit on top of that email and route into 4 separate queues for that to be worked on, increasing customer satisfaction, those types of things. Again, that's just one illustrative use case. So we're going to jump into our last question. And then how do we measure success? Cost reduction, CSAT, or speed to resolution. And, KPIs can generate good and bad habits. I mean, HT, right? 2 ways to measure time, up, down. Up is average handle time, down is SLA. But at times you may not want to get through that call quickly. You may want to upsell, cross-sell, or provide white glove service, or those types of things. And then we do recommend that you follow the SMART process. Make sure your KPIs are specific, measurable, relevant, attainable, and time bound. And then that helps also align the business with IT and spearheading these types of initiatives. But Apanya, I'd love to get your thoughts and view on this as well.
It's a question that comes up in 100% of customer engagements. So thank you so much for teeing up this question, Greg. See, when it comes to measuring customer success, here is what I would say. Focus on 3 things and align them with your business KPIs and goals. Those 3 things are, first and foremost, your end customer goal that you have, be it customer sat, loyalty, prevention, whatever that is. So end customer satisfaction and end customer experience KPIs, that's the first bucket. The second bucket that organizations care for is, what is the cost to serve a customer engagement? That's where cost reduction, speed to resolution, all those KPIs play an important role, which is predominantly operational efficiency. That's the second bucket of KPIs. The third bucket of measuring success that I have seen in my customer engagements is when organizations truly want to transform their customer engagement so that it can go from being a cost center to a revenue and growth engine. So these are the 3 buckets of measuring success that I have seen in my customer engagements. And I'll tell you that every organization is unique and their business KPIs and goals for any given year could be different. And let me give you an example of that. I have met customers in the hospitality industry segment. And they have told me that, Alpana, I don't care about cost reduction. I don't care about speed to resolution. All I care about is I provide a superstar experience to my end customers. So the KPI that I want to focus on for the next 6 to 12 months is CSAT.
Yes.
Next 6 to 12 months, I don't care about cost reduction. I have also met customers who are already doing great at CSAT and who are in the journey of optimizing their operational efficiency. For them, the cost of serving a customer for the next 6 to 12 months is super important. That's why I said that think about these three buckets: end customer experience, operational efficiency, and turning your contact centers from cost centers into revenue and growth engines. And then from these three segments, go back and see what is important for your organization for the next 6 to 12 months, and then tie these two things together to define your own success measure.
Love it. John, over to you to close this out.
I'm going to close it out. Really, I mean, I'm going to completely agree with Panya. We've been doing this a long time, and absolutely. Let me close this very quickly. I agree. Your North Star is CSAT and consistent answers, fewer handoffs, and clean escalations with full context. The most mature teams track all three of these together using telemetry from day one, because speed and cost gains that hurt CSAT aren't success. And CSAT without operational leverage doesn't scale. Just to kind of put a finer note on what Alpanya said. I mean, we see that all the time. That needs to be your North Star. Put it up, CSAT, put it up there consistently. Your data and these AI agents are going to determine where you have data discrepancies. But that's okay. If your agents are using that to help solve, and resolve cases with bad data, guess what? It's time to fix it. We'll get through these pieces and we'll definitely get it. But our North Star is that CSAT and consistent answers. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Great feedback and great discussion points. Just again, as a reminder, we'll get the content out, the video recording, the PDFs, the analyst reviews, etc. On behalf of Panya and Microsoft and CompuSoft and Greg and John, we appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much for your time today. If anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Please connect on LinkedIn. There's a lot of great content that we're pushing out on a daily basis. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and happy April Fool's Day. We'll talk soon. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.